All right, my dear FMGs. So let's start with our CBT second question paper discussion. So I'll be very short, crisp and concise. So starting with the first question. So this is in continuation with your CBT 1. So the numbering is from 16 onwards. So first 15 questions you have to do your CBT 1 discussion as well, that is 1 to 15, and now we are starting with the 16th question, right? So which component of the eye has maximum refractive index? So quickly, what is the refractive index of cornea? If I talk about the refractive index of cornea, it is 1.376. What is the refractive index of aqueous humor and vitreous humor? It is 1.33. What is the refractive index of lens? It is 1.38 to 1.40, in which 1.40 is that of the center part of the lens and 1.38 is that of the periphery of the lens. So what is the answer here? So is it anterior surface of lens? No. Is it posterior surface? No. It is actually center of the lens. So it is 1.40, hence the answer. If we talk about cornea, so it is 1.376. But if I may ask you, at which surface or which interface there is maximum refraction that happens? So of course that is going to happen at an interface in which there is maximum difference of refractive index, and it happens at which interface? So maximum refraction happens to be at air tear film interface. Your previous year question, what is the refractive index of air? 1. What is the refractive index of tear film? 1.33. so what is the difference in the refractive index? It is 0.33. don't say that sir the maximum refraction will be at the aqueous humor lens, because the aqueous humor is 1.33 while lens says if you take maximum 1.40. what will be the difference? It will be just 0.07. 1.40 minus 1.33, it will be 0.07. but if you will consider air tear film interface, it will be 1.33, which is that of tear film minus 1, so it will be 0.33, which is much more than 0.07. so maximum refraction will be at air tear film interface. Okay, macular edema is seen with, so macula is present in the central part of the retina. So any investigation that helps in visualizing the center part of the retina, so which will help us in seeing macular edema as well. So indirect ophthalmoscopy, it is mostly used for peripheral lesions, peripheral retinal examination, so by which you can actually identify the central part. What about distant direct ophthalmoscopy? Not at all. Distant direct is you hold the direct ophthalmoscope at a distance of 25 centimeter and you look out for the red reflexes checked. Red reflexes checked. But macular edema here can be seen with direct ophthalmoscopy. Direct ophthalmoscopy is mostly central, so it assesses the central 2 disc diameter of the area. So it is seen with central. It can also be seen with slit lamp with 90D lens. So it also, you can also go for fundus examination. So do you know that slit lamp with 90D lens, with 90D lens is gold standard. So whenever you go for fundus examination, so you go with slit lamp with 90D, you dilate the eye and then you examine. So B and C you can assess the macular edema, but out of B and C, which is best? Which is best? Best is slit lamp. Why slit lamp? Because in slit lamp you get binocular vision, while in direct ophthalmoscopy you get uniocular vision. So you may not be able to appreciate macular edema that well, but slit lamp with plus 90D lens is best. So the answer here will be C, right? Don't get confused. Okay, now next is true about color blindness. So which is true? So males and females are equally affected? No, because color blindness is generally X-linked recessive. So female generally don't have color blindness. Autosomal dominant? No, I have already told you it is X-linked recessive. Males are carrier? No, males are actually more prone to develop. So it is not only more prone, it develops only in males, right? So the answer is clear cut, which is A. And which blindness is more common? Blue green, red green, yellow, pink, white? So it is actually green color blindness is more common. So what is the name of green color blindness? You call it as deuteranopia. Deuteranopia. So that is green color blindness. This is most common form of color blindness. So these are few points that you should know. Okay, now colored halos in conjunctivitis are due to excess conjunctivitis. Of course, if there is conjunctivitis, there will be discharge. Now if there will be discharge, what is the technically you call discharge as? These are actually flakes of the mucus. When the flakes of mucus gets deposited on the cornea and the light will come, it will pass through the flakes of mucus and it will get split up into different colors, which is VIBGYOR, Vibgyor, and the patient may have colored halos. So it is due to flakes of mucus, right? Clear cut answer. Okay, next, a 45-year-old patient came to eye OPD complaints of sudden painful loss of vision. Keyword: on examination, eye is congested, cornea is hazy, AC is shallow, the pupil is constricted and non-reacting. The pupil is constricted and non-reacting. Lens shows opacity between posterior surface and posterior capsule. Babare. Vitreous is clear, fundus and everything is normal. Now the image is shown. What is this image? What is this image? What is this? What can you see? This is your hypopyon. This is your hypopyon. So you can see conjunctiva is congested, and here you can also see that cornea is hazy. Cornea is hazy, and you can also see small keratic precipitates. So that points there is intense inflammation which is going on in the eye, isn't it? Now go back to the history. Sudden painful loss of vision is there, right? So cornea is hazy, AC is also shallow, the pupil is constricted and non-reacting. Pupil is non-reacting, so lens is showing opacity between the posterior surface and posterior capsule. That means there is posterior subcapsular cataract as well. Posterior subcapsular cataract as well. So what should be your diagnosis? So your diagnosis should be, it is clear cut anterior uveitis, because I told you, you can see your keratic precipitates, the cornea is hazy, there is hypopyon, and there is typical circumcorneal congestion. Can you see the typical let me just outline it. So can you see typical circumcorneal congestion? It is typical circumcorneal congestion which is seen in anterior uveitis, and hence it is the answer. Is it understandable? So this is how you approach. So don't say why it cannot be acute glaucoma, because in acute glaucoma whole of the eye will be congested, right? And the pupil will not be constricted, the pupil will be mid-dilated. The pupil will be mid-dilated in acute attack, and there will be hypopyon. There will be no hypopyon. This is how you connect the dots. There will be no hypopyon. Bacterial corneal ulcer, if there is bacterial corneal ulcer bachcho, so there will be hazy cornea. You can actually see the corneal ulcer, but here of course the cornea is hazy, but you cannot see anything on the surface of the cornea. You see at the posterior of the cornea. Can you see? So this is your slit beam. So slit beam, so what is this? This is your anterior surface of cornea, this is your posterior surface of cornea. So there are keratic precipitates at the posterior surface, and nothing is on the anterior surface. So this is also rule out. And acute conjunctivitis, if there is acute conjunctivitis, why there will be hypopyon? Bachcho, will there be hypopyon? No, not at all. There will not be any hypopyon, right? And there will be diffuse conjunctival congestion. Here there is typical circumcorneal congestion, right? Circumcorneal means just around the cornea, hence it is the answer. Okay, now a 70-year-old female visits eye emergency, sudden pain and loss of vision 6 hours back. The patient gave a history of sitting in his room when he felt suddenly the voltage dropped down. So something happened suddenly. Post that she was not able to see objects clearly. Fundus examination, fundus, array babare. What is this? Yes, this is typical which appearance? This is splash tomato appearance, and it is typically seen in CRVO. Has been repeated many times in your previous year papers. Now also please understand, CRVO is also known as 90-day glaucoma, because in CRVO some books mention 100 day. In CRVO, the retinal hypoxia is so quick that it leads to proliferation, neovascularization, which causes neovascular glaucoma. It takes just 90 to 100 days, my dear friends. So the answer to this question is CRVO. Typical splashed mato appearance is there, and also please understand it happens to be in patients which are more than 60-65 years of age, and it is more common in females. Typical history. And what is the other feature important? It causes CME, cystoid macular edema. It also causes disc edema. Can you see that disc margins cannot be appreciated in this patient, right? And there is cystoid macular edema as well, CME, cystoid macular edema as well, right? And also there will be RAPD, relative afferent pupillary defect. There will be neovascularization, and there can be neovascular glaucoma. So I have actually put up all the important points of central retinal vein occlusion, right? Okay, now which of the following drug has corneal staining property? Kind of googly. Out of these drugs, thioridazine is the drug that actually leads to staining of the cornea. This is a single liner question, right? It leads to staining of the cornea, so that is the answer here. Location of Arch line. What is Arch line? It is fibrotic line. It is fibrotic line seen on upper palpebral conjunctiva in trachoma. It is arch line, fibrotic line, which is present in upper palpebral conjunctiva in trachoma. Acha, what is the most diagnostic feature of chlamydia trachomatis? Most diagnostic feature of chlamydia trachomatis is presence of bulbar follicles, your previous year question. And if we talk about another important question, if we talk about one strategy that is practiced in chlamydia is SAFE strategy. So I am giving you potential questions plus your previous year question. SAFE strategy is followed, and what do you understand by SAFE? S for surgery. Surgery is done for which condition? Trichiasis. If trichiasis is not there, you go for entropion. A for what? A for antibiotic prophylaxis. Recently one student messaged me and asked me, sir, which antibiotic is given? My answer was azithromycin is given. Sir, what dose is given? So dose is 1 gram single dose stat. F for facial hygiene or facial cleanliness. E for environmental sanitation. This is the full form of SAFE strategy, environmental sanitation. So it is environmental sanitation. SAFE strategy is practiced. And what is the WHO classification of trachoma? WHO classification is FISTO. FISTO is the WHO classification. So all these are important features of trachoma. Okay, now next question, granular keratic precipitates are seen in. So keratic precipitates, of course, they are seen in uveitis, and granular keratic precipitates will be seen in granulomatous uveitis. Now they are not going to be there in non-granulomatous. Okay, what are the causes of granulomatous uveitis? 3 important causes that you should know: tuberculosis, syphilis, leprosy. So these 3 causes cause granulomatous uveitis. Now you would say, sir, okay, there is an option of syphilitic uveitis as well. Should not we mark? No. Granulomatous uveitis is a broad term, right? So granular keratic precipitates are seen in syphilis, but they are not specific to syphilis. They are specific to granulomatous form of uveitis, which can be due to tuberculosis, which can be due to leprosy. And based on this, you will mark this. So this was again kind of googly to check out for the intelligence quotient, IQ level, right? So you will not mark syphilis, you will actually mark granulomatous uveitis. Understand? Okay, moving on to the next question. Which of the following condition presents with uveitis with arthritis. Now if you talk about anterior uveitis, अगर हम anterior uveitis की बात करें, so most common cause is idiopathic. Most common cause of anterior uveitis is idiopathic, number one. It can also be associated with HLA-B27 associated seronegative arthropathy. Seronegative आर्थ्रोपैथी. ये जो HLA-B27 जो सीरोनेगेटिव आर्थ्रोपैथीज हैं, these are psoriasis, A for ankylosing spondylitis, I for inflammatory bowel disease. You already know there is Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. R for Retter's disease. Retter's disease. So what is Retter's disease? Retter's disease is, my dear friends, it is uveitis with arthritis. So this is the answer here. Is it understandable? And also not to forget, the important other cause of anterior uveitis is JRA, which is juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, and Behçet's disease. Behçet's disease. All these are important questions which have been asked before, right? But here the answer is uveitis with arthritis. So it is Retter's disease. In Retter's disease, this arthritis is typically reactive arthritis. Reactive arthritis. Is it understandable? Chalo, I hope you got most of the questions correct so far. I'm sure about it, right? Okay. Most common cause of blindness in the world. So we have already done in class cataract. If not in the option, go for glaucoma. If not in the option, go for age-related macular degeneration. If not in the option, go for trachoma. If not in the option, last go for river blindness. River blindness, or the other name of river blindness is onchocerciasis. So here if we go with the options, so which is the best option? Most common cause of blindness in the world is cataract. Most common cause of preventable blindness is also cataract. But if the question asks most common cause of blindness in children, so that will become vitamin A deficiency, your previous year question. In children, most common cause of blindness in children is vitamin A deficiency. Very important, right? If they ask most common cause of preventable blindness in the world, then also you will mark cataract. Blindness overall, preventable blindness overall, cataract, and vitamin A deficiency in children. Which laser is used for posterior capsular cataract? Actually, it is not posterior capsular cataract, it is posterior capsular opacity. The other name of PCO, posterior capsular opacity, is, yes, after cataract. After cataract. It is after cataract. Is it understandable now? Which laser is used? Laser which is used is Nd:YAG laser. What is the wavelength of Nd:YAG laser? 1064 nanometer. If you have attended my face-to-face or maybe live on the app or maybe recorded, so you would recall that I had typically shown you the real patient in which I was doing posterior capsulotomy procedure. The procedure is known as posterior capsulotomy, where I was focusing my Nd:YAG laser onto the posterior capsule, which was leading to rupturing of the posterior capsule, right? So posterior capsular opacity or after cataract is actually most common late complication of cataract surgery. Most common late complication of cataract surgery, right? Okay. Next is a child cannot focus on a single letter. This is due to which condition? So on a single letter, that means probably in one meridian the child is not able to focus. Now if there is different refractive power in different meridia, you call it as astigmatism. So not able to focus on a single letter, probably we are talking of not able to read in one meridian, है ना? So that is astigmatism. So the answer is astigmatism. Myopia, when the image is formed in front of the retina, when the patient is not able to see distant objects clearly, है ना, this is also known as nearsightedness. Nearsightedness, है ना. And which glasses do you give? You give concave glasses. Hypermetropia, though you call it as farsightedness, and you give convex glasses, but please understand, in hypermetropia the patient is not able to see distant objects as well as near objects clearly, right? So distant and near objects are not seen, they are not seen. So don't get confused by this term farsightedness, right? And you will give convex glasses, your previous year question, you will give concave glasses. And in astigmatism, which glasses you are going to give? You are going to give cylindrical glasses. Cylindrical glasses. Emetropia is no refractive error, right? Okay. Now next question, we have already done this. Cylindrical glasses are used for astigmatism. What is presbyopia? It is age related, it is physiological, age related loss of accommodation. Age related loss of accommodation is presbyopia. Which glasses you are going to give in presbyopia? You are going to give convex glasses. Even in hypermetropia you are going to give convex glasses. Please understand, in hypermetropia I told you that the patient is not able to see distant objects clearly and near objects clearly, so hypermetropic patients will always and always have to wear the convex glasses all the time. But since presbyopia is age related loss of accommodation, that means patient is able to see distant objects clearly but not the near objects clearly due to weakening of the accommodative effort of the eyes. So here the convex glasses are used only during near work, only during near work, right? So that is the difference. Don't confuse, don't say okay sir, convex glasses are being given in presbyopia, in hypermetropia, so both are same. Both are not same, my dear friends, right? Now coming on to the last question. A patient who was operated for cataract 4 months back come to you with foggy vision. On examination following is found. Which mode of treatment is most useful? Let's see what the patient has for us. Okay, what is this? What is this small bubble like things? These are actually, you called it as Elschnig pearls. Elschnig pearls. So this is what we just did. This is PCO, posterior capsular opacity, or what is this? After cataract. After cataract. So this has been repeated many times in your previous year question. Now what is the treatment? We have already done it. The treatment is ND YAG laser, but this was image based question. So this is Elschnig pearls. So if we talk about after cataract can be of two types. One is Sommering ring. One is Sommering ring. Another is Elschnig pearls. So Elschnig pearls are pearl like which are present in the center, while Sommering ring is the ring like which is present at the periphery. So in Sommering ring you generally don't do anything, right? Because it is not central now. So that's absolutely okay. The patient's vision is not that deteriorated. But Elschnig pearls, the pearls are present at the center and they restrict the vision. They restrict the vision. They restrict the vision. They restrict the vision. As a result, the patient comes to you and says he or she feels as if there is some fog in front of his eyes, like when you are sitting in a car in a cold day, so there is fogging of the windscreen, similar to that. And the moment you rupture the posterior capsule, the patient becomes, the vision improves instantaneously, right? Okay, so guys, these were your 30 questions, right? And I hope you gave your CBT 1 religiously and you also appeared for your CBT 2 religiously. In case of any queries, academic, non-academic, any doubts, so you can always get in touch with me. 9814111330. You can WhatsApp me, and you already know my name is Dr. Manish. I have told you in the explanation of my previous CBT as well. If you are only doing CBT 2 videos, so I am again sharing. So I am Dr. Manish. I am MS Ophthalmology and did my fellowship in glaucoma from PGI MER Chandigarh. So I hope to see you soon. As I told you in previous CBT, we are definitely going to meet in Delhi in DAM Studios, where we'll be interacting with each other post results, and you will be celebrating your result with us. And as I always say, I am because of all you guys. So thank you very much for your love, appreciation and respect. I hope to see you soon, and love to all of you, my dear students. Thank you very, very much. Best wishes.